Awesome. Okay. And we still have people coming in, so I'll just rebroadcast that. So the
Yay, thank you.
agenda is there. And we're going to start off with quick introductions. I'm Christopher Brannon. I am the 2023 koha-US president, and also I am the IT coordinator for the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and the Cooperative Information Network. Oh my gosh. Okay, and I'm going to just go down the screen that I have. So Michael.
I'm Michael Adamyk. I'm the supported rep on the koha-US board. Is that the term?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
And Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg Gantz. I'm the IT guy for NEKLS, and I've missed the last couple of meetings. I've been out putting our E-rate dollars to work doing network installs the last couple of months, so good to be back.
Awesome. Avery. Oh, we can't hear you, Avery. If you want to put something about yourself in the chat, go for it. While you're doing that, I'll move on to Fred.
Fred King, MedStar Washington Hospital Center, one of the Go It Alone folks here.
Jason.
I'm Jason Rauba. I'm the Seek and Find coordinator at the Southeast Kansas Library System.
Black Cat Face.
I'm John Sterbenz. I'm the koha-US financial manager, and Cinderfella decided after months of not participating in anything, he decided to participate in this.
Barbara.
Hi, I'm Barbara Johnson. I'm Technical Services Manager at Bedford Public Library in Bedford, Texas.
Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Marlette. I'm the koha-US Secretary.
Rhonda.
My name is Rhonda Kuiper. I'm the Technical Services Manager at the Round Rock Public Library in Round Rock, Texas.
Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Spinney, and I am the Member Services Manager at the CLAMS Library Network.
Awesome. Eileen.
Hi, Eileen Chandler, Executive Director of the Cape Library's Automated Materials Sharing, aka CLAMS, Cape Cod, and the islands of Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard.
NEKLS Zoom 3, George Williams.
Sorry, my back hurts, so I'm standing up and moving around and doing all kinds of stuff. But I'm George. I'm the Next Search Catalog Coordinator at Northeast Kansas Library System.
All right, and Avery's bouncing in and out, but Avery said she's from CLAMS. She does technical support at CLAMS. Unfortunately, she's having technical issues with her microphone. And Michael also added, he's the Digital Resources Manager at the Central Kansas Library System. Awesome. All right, well, welcome everyone. We're glad to have you here. Just a reminder that our next meeting is going to be held on day 3 at the conference next month in I cannot speak today, in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So we hope to see all of you there and more. We've got a lot of folks registered. The last time I checked, we had 42 people registered to show up in person, so it's good. We're hoping to make those numbers climb this month. But yeah, so don't look for us here the second week of September. Watch for us during the conference. Eileen's asking if you need to register if you're attending remotely. We do ask everybody to register. We send out the links to the people that register. So please make sure that you are accounted for in that, so we get all those communications to you. All right, any announcements before we get to new business? Anybody have anything exciting going on? All right, so we're a bunch of boring libraries. Excellent. Let's move on. If you have anything to add later, you can. We're gonna hop on to new business for the agenda. First thing I have on the list is development. And I'm gonna hold off on that because I don't see Bob. And Bob is the one talking about that. So I will just mention briefly that we have talked about a new workflow for development and moving away from making people fill out the cumbersome registration for development, and we're moving towards having stuff over on Bywater's dev page, and we're going to move towards that. So he'll give more of the details in that and the upcoming vote. Hopefully he'll be joining us, and I am going to real quick shoot him. Actually, while I'm moving forward, John, would you mind shooting him a message in Slack or email or both, and just checking to see if he's going to be joining us?
Will do.
Thank you. Speaking of Slack, we'll move on. We have made some adjustments with Slack for a couple years at least. I'm not sure how long. We have had a Slack channel for koha-US, but it's been kind of behind the scenes, and not all members were a part of that. It was basically we were using it for quick communication with board members and prior board members and such. And I had this notion that, we're kind of letting this go to waste. It's not being utilized really well. And so I thought, let's repurpose what we're doing with Slack in koha-US. So we've basically done away with our semi-private Slack channel, and we have developed a new channel with the help of George Williams. We have a new Slack channel called Koha Community Group, aka Koha Community. There was another Koha Community channel out there, but we do not know who owns it. It's kind of, well, it's pretty much dead. Nobody has claimed it, and we can't get into it. So George started a new one with tagged with group on it, and we have done a soft launch of this channel. What that means is I sent out an invite to everybody in the membership for koha-US and our board members, and so we've had a lot of people join up. We've done a lot of organization of Slack. For those of you that don't know what Slack is just basically an instant messaging mechanism that we use to communicate. There are some other messaging platforms out there. The Koha community has primarily used IRC to communicate. I was in the IRC for a long time when I got involved with Koha, but I find that IRC is not, I wouldn't call IRC user friendly. It's not something I have liked working in. I find Slack a lot easier, although Slack does have its own challenges, particularly onboarding people. You have to get an invite at this point to get into the Slack channels. So if you are not part of the Slack channel, the Koha community Slack channel, send us an email at info@koha-us.org. Koha-US is going to kind of help manage that. We didn't want whoever was owning that channel to disappear, so we didn't have it assigned to any one individual. So we have it assigned to koha-US. koha-US is going to help manage that, and we'll onboard some other people to help manage that too. We're not going to be the sole proprietors of it, but we are the primary owner of that at this point, so that we can maintain it. But we wanted to give another platform to the Koha community. Like I said, we did a soft launch for the members of koha-US, but we're gonna open that up to the community. So for now, right now, if you want to be a part of that and you're not in koha-US at all, you're watching this video, a recording of this video, and you want to be a part of that Koha community Slack channel, feel free to write us. Again, the email is info@koha-us.org. Let us know that you want to be on the Koha community channel, and we'll send you the invite. We're open, it's open to anybody, but I haven't put anything out specifically to the community yet because I was trying to decide the best route to go. I do have I think right now it's just send it to info and we'll take care of it. But I'm going to probably establish another email address that I can bring other people on board that are outside of koha-US that can help fulfill those requests to be part of the channel. So that's where we are right now. I know that the Koha community has gravitated towards IRC because it's open source. Slack isn't necessarily open source, but it does have free versions of it, which we are using, and it works well. We're not taking advantage of right now any of the additional features with it, but we could reevaluate that down the road if we wanted to support that. But right now we're just using the free version. I see some conversation about that in the chat here. Let's see here. Yeah, George posted that the official name for the channel is koha-community-group.slack.com. But again, you need the invite in order to get in. I haven't decided if there's another way we can do this to make it easier for anybody. I've been looking at the features and trying to figure that out. So we may change that down the road, but for now, just send us an email and we'll get you in there. Fred, I do not understand your statement.
Which one?
Now he's going to ask and we have to listen.
There
That's
are
not pejorative.
what?
You wrote that's not pejorative, I should add.
Oh, IRC by geeks for geeks. I meant that wasn't pejorative.
Okay.
And then I added, and this one was serious, there are two channels, general and general discussion. What's the difference?
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm using the wrong terminology. The Koha community work group is what we've added. We have channels within the work group. And so we've defined a lot of channels within that work group. We have carved out a koha-US section and several channels. We've carved out channels for each of our SIGs, our special interest groups, and we have some regional groups that we've defined in there. And if you see something that you want to add another regional group or whatever, we can certainly add that. So just shoot me a message in Slack and we can add that. But there's also some stuff outside of the koha-US section for just general discussion, reports, jQuery, SQL, all that good stuff. So feel free to hop on there and communicate. Eileen was asking, oh, sorry, let's hear. Eileen was asking, what is the app we are supposed to download? I'm sorry, but Slack is new to me. It's just a Slack app. If you search I think you can search the Microsoft Store, or you can just go to the Slack website, slack.com, I think, and find the app that way. I don't know if it's in the Microsoft Store. I don't think I had to go through the Microsoft Store for that, but I'm not sure. But yes, slack.com, Michael says. So you can download that. You can also, you don't have to get the app. I like the app. The app runs in the background, so I get notifications when somebody writes in Slack, which is really nice. I also have it on my phone, so it makes it easy to stay in communication. But you can also go to the website and log in and run it from your browser if you didn't want to install anything, I believe. So, all right. Any other questions? And feel free to just jump in with audio. You don't have to put your questions in the chat.
I think I have the same question Fred has. I'm still confused. So there's a hashtag general channel and then a hashtag general discussion. Is general dash discussion just koha-US? Like, what's the difference between general and general dash discussion?
It was actually the general channel in the koha-US section was originally the koha-US channel that was in there. I reorganized things and I just renamed it to something else. I may just kind of do away with it because there is a general outside of the koha-US that we can have discussions in. It doesn't have to be specifically koha-US general discussions in there, so I may just do away with that. It's still, evolving. So
one thing I can tell you about Slack is that general is a required channel and everybody is a member of general.
Okay.
I think one of the things that Christopher and I talked one day about sections. I think one of the things that I realize now that I didn't realize at the time we discussed sections is everybody creates their own sections, Christopher. It's like you can't organize the sections at a system level. It's everybody can set their own sections. So you know what I mean?
No.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it later.
All right. So yeah, like I said, it's evolving. We're trying to get more of the community in on this. So I'll be sending out communication to. I'm probably not going to send out a general invite to the community until after the conference, because I am getting ready for a vacation, and then after vacation, my focus is on the upcoming conference, and so I'm kind of swamped with things, still putting together presentations, getting videos knocked out so that everything is taken care of in a timely manner. So I'll probably send out more of the community invites after the conference when I have time to respond to those requests to join the workspace. So it's going to be hit and miss probably with the community in general, because there is some there are some open source peers that don't want to be on proprietary software, and it is what it is. I find it's a great place to talk. It's easy to work with, so that's where I hang out. And we've had members, and I know Bywater has their own channel or excuse me, workspace. And I've been seeing a lot of good positive use out of it. So we're going to give it a try, see what happens. Any other questions before we go on to the next topic?
Christopher,
Yes.
this is Eileen. I'm sorry. I'm on Slack now, and I wasn't really listening to the part about the general versus the discussion. So the one you just launched is the discussion one. Is that correct?
Well, there's both of them were launched together.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yep.
One of them will probably disappear, just so you know.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll probably make the one that's under koha-US, the koha-US section disappear and maintain a general outside of that. So,
and I think part of the confusion is you're talking about a koha-US section, but we don't see that. So it's just a list of channels on my end.
Can you show me what you're seeing? This is the first I've heard of this.
Let me show my screen.
This is what I was trying to explain. Sections is just a way for an individual user to organize the content in the channels.
So this is what it looks like on mine. I just subscribe to a bunch of channels. So it's just kind of a big long list. So that's why I was like, what's the difference here? And it looks like I can't make a section in the sidebar if I wanted to, because it says that's a paid service. So
well, that's weird. Oh, maybe those disappeared after our okay, maybe that was a trial thing.
Our free trial ended, yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you want to organize things under koha-US, it is going to have that in the name of the group to get it sorted together at least.
Okay. Well, thanks for setting me straight. I'm saying a bunch of things. The last time I looked at the Slack, it was organized in sections, and now it's not. So good to know. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I just opened mine, and yep, my sections are all gone. Silly me. Okay, so we'll get rid of one of those generals.
To complicate things, I'm running it on another computer, so I can't share my screen, but I have general discussion, random, koha-US Mountain, koha-US North, Texas, koha-US Kansas. That's it.
So Fred, you can subscribe to the other ones that were on my list if you click on channels and then go down to manage and then browse channels, and that'll give you the full list of what's there, and you can join the different ones.
I see. Thank you.
All right. So still some work to do on it, but again, I saw a lot of people join. I'm glad to see people trying to connect on there, and it's just another way for us to communicate. So, and yes, that is why we have a soft launch. Where I'm glad we're not advertising this fully yet, because yeah, that would be chaos for me. All right, let's move on to we're going to back up for just a moment and talk about development in the upcoming vote. Bob, I gave a very brief, rough idea of what's going on, but I'd like you to kind of go through all of what you're thinking with the workflow and vote.
Yeah, absolutely. What we were looking at is our old development process, and that we felt was maybe not not making it easy for people to get development ideas onto our list to what gets voted at, just because there was just more hoops to jump through and it was more complex. So we looked at the language of that, and then what we wanted to do is use some infrastructure that's already in place, and that's the devs page on the Bywater website. And so primarily we want to look at those developments and select from that what we're going to be voting on going forward. So instead of having our own separate process by which we are gathering all this information on what the development quote is, how many people have contributed to it, and putting so much of an onus on individual libraries to come up with all that information themselves, they can get this up on the Bywater development page. They can show if they want to contribute or gather other contributions, and what koha-US will do with the proposed change is look at some of those developments and choose from them a vote, and that will allow us to have in one very obvious spot links to all those descriptions of what is going to change and see how much it costs and all that. Now, that doesn't mean that we are going to always go with Bywater. We've worked with other developers, particularly Catalyst in the Koha community. And so we can still go out and see if we can get a different price or a different speed by which that work can get done. So that's all looked at in this new process and explained a little bit better than what we currently have. So what I'll be doing today is putting out a vote for membership so we can get those changes approved, that new process approved. So look for that. What you'll see is a draft document that shows incomplete what all the language is. And then I also have a document I've created that tracks all the changes from what it was to what we're hoping it will be. And I think that will be able to increase just general, not only the stuff that we develop, but pushing more people in a way that will be more collaborative for developments in general. In some cases, somebody that thought maybe we could help fund them by going through this other process might find that they get things funded even before we take a vote. So that's kind of the goal. I'd be happy to answer any questions people have about the new process.
Any questions for Bob?
And if there's not, you will definitely see very clearly our language that and what those changes are later today.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
All right. Jumping back to our third new business, registration for the conference has been open. As I had mentioned, we were 41, 42 yesterday when I last looked at registration for people that are coming in person. We've got over well over 100 folks registered in general. So there is a lot of interest. We're hoping to see a lot more of you in person. I sent out a list of reasons. We used this last year, but a list of reasons why it's beneficial to come in person. I feel like these conferences, I feel kind of disconnected from the conference when I attend online. I really enjoy being there in person. I feel like I get a lot more out of it with the networking. I mean, if all you're doing is viewing presentations and that's all you want, then online is probably great for you. But I really enjoy being there. And if you have the option to go, I know that some of our organizations and libraries are opting not to send people, and I get that. And that's why we are making, why we've made our conferences hybrids, so that people are not left out. But I do encourage you to come and enjoy the conference in person, so you get to sit and chat with people, get to talk with them outside of the conference hours, make those connections, and get some better resources for your support for Koha. Also, it's an opportunity to get away from the norm and get a fresh perspective. Also, you get to take in a beautiful area. We try to have the conference someplace new every year, and I'm looking forward to being in New Hampshire. This is going to be fun, and we are near a coast, so I'm definitely going to take an opportunity to get out by the water. So we really hope to see you there. George says he's attending in person and drinking with others. All right. Or equals drinking with others. Okay. Anyways, so if you haven't registered for the conference, please do so. If you go to our website at koha-US.org, there is a menu item specifically for the conference and a link on that first tab to register. Registration is a somewhat small form and an easy process, and it is $25. No, I'm sorry, not $25. I'm thinking membership. John, what is the cost for the conference? Remind me.
Members register at $35, non-members $55, but non-members have the option of joining the group at the same time and getting the membership discount right away for a total of $47.50.
So again, we hope you're there, and it's going to be a fun conference. We've got a lot lined up for it, and we've got a cultural event we're hashing out the details for. So stay tuned on our event page to find out more about that. And that's, registration for conference and conference updates in a nutshell. We are finalizing a lot of the annoying behind the scenes details for that, but we've got the schedule lined up, a keynote ready to go, and a lot of great presentations planned. So look at the schedule and see if there's something that is of interest to you. Again, we're going to have our general meeting, which you're looking at right now. We're going to have that on the week of the conference, day 3. So watch for that there. We also have a lot of our SIG meetings on day 3 and 4. So we're kind of bundling all that together with the conference, but we'll be able to have people there in person, but also online. So details will follow for all of that. So we will make sure that everybody has links to get to everything. All right. Well, with that said, that's the end of our new business, and we are going to open up discussion for everybody for bugs, issues, experiences with Koha, concerns, whatever you like. What is on your mind about Koha right now? Absolutely nothing. I need cricket sound effects here.
Oh, you want me to show you something really cool I did?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I gotta get there. I think I showed this at some other meeting, but I didn't have my sound sharing, so you're gonna get the full effect.
Oh, joy.
So my test server. So for upgrade training, we did little exploration sessions, and I hid some Easter eggs in my catalog, and some of them were tied to sounds. So I have crickets in my catalog now, and it might be really loud if you can hear it at all.
Wow.
I also added sharks, things with sharks.
So this just happens on a particular bib?
Yeah, it's looking at the title. So I threw some confetti on some things. I threw some animation on some things, to sort of like gamify our training process, and people enjoyed it. So, but I also have
just
cricket
on
sound
your
effects.
training. You're not including that on your production at all?
No, that didn't make it into production. I do have some confetti. I built in confetti on the holds queue if it's empty, and people
Oh man, I would be so tempted to put that in production. That's, I mean, not necessarily on the staff side, but on the patron side. I bet the patrons would love that. Little surprises. Now I know that changes were made to browsers a couple years ago to where we have a website for a particular topic, and the intro screen, when the intro screen for the website comes up, it's animated and it had a sound effect, but the browsers made a change to where when you initially go to that page, it will not play the sound, so that
Yeah,
people
so
are or surprised by this instant audio.
Yeah.
But if you refresh the page, then you get the audio. Do you have that issue
it's
with this?
similar to pop-ups basically. So like on all browsers, if there's a sound, this one doesn't have the sound, so you don't see it up there. But it's one of these things that you have to allow initially in your browser to let that stuff play. For some reason it's not working now, but that's where you'll see it, and that's with all sounds in Koha. Like even if you're using the audio alerts for check-ins, checkouts, that sort of stuff that's already built in, if you're not hearing that when you're doing that, it's because your browser's blocked them as like a security precaution. But yeah, it's one of those things that pops up when you first do it, and if you allow it, then moving forward, you don't have to worry about the setting anymore.
I could foresee using these in the OPAC as like a way for training students, you know, like doing a scavenger hunt. That would be a great program, you know, to go and find the title that makes the cookies fly through the air.
I would like to see that on Barbara's presentation for the conference, part of the children's focus.
Well, Barbara can't create that, but since Barbara and Jason are doing it together, maybe Jason can. That's a lot of pressure, Christopher.
No, we'll come up with something. It'll be fine.
Fun for the children's catalog. I would love to see that.
So it looked like, sorry.
Go ahead. I was just gonna give the disclaimer that don't expect a complete product on our children's OPAC. It's been months since I've been able to like work on it at all. So we're gonna show off what we've done so far, but it's by no means complete.
And it looked like you just added in the sounds for a record that contains something in the title.
Yeah, I was just using the title for the sound ones, and everything. Actually, I can show the code for the other stuff if you're interested.
Are you just using Koha's triggers?
Yeah, so for the audio, it's just using nothing beyond this. So what I'm looking at is the title contains Tetris. It's going to play this sound, and all the sounds are coming from the Internet Archive directly. So like any of these records, it is case sensitive. So if you go to something that doesn't have Hawaii in capital, then it doesn't trigger. For the other part of it, it's in my internet user.js. And this is a big ol' messy mess, but if we go down to the confetti, you can see, so this is the one that's on my holds queue, and it's checking, are you on the holds queue? Is the message that there's no items on the holds queue there, and then it pops up confetti. We've got one for if you're on the catalog detail, does the title contain pizza, and then it throws up pizza, bake and cookies, all that stuff. And then same thing for like the GIFs and stuff. Those are just looking at the title. Yeah, there's the chocolate GIF is there. So does the title contain chocolate? Then it's gonna put that image in, and I just pulled that off of Giphy. So yeah, it's just using elements within the page to trigger things on the page.
I want to see you search for Super Mario now.
I'm not sure what's in there.
This is time well spent. That's all I
Yeah,
have to
sorry,
say.
guys.
No, I'm totally serious. This is time well spent.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Back in the days when I ran a computer lab, I had the Windows 95 machines. Yes, this was a long time ago. Set up so whenever a program crashed, Hal would say, "I have seen this sort of thing happen before, and it has always been due to human error." Did I do that with that 500 error?
Probably, absolutely. I used to have a sound clip of Dorothy saying, "What would you do with the brain if you had one?" whenever I got errors on my computer. That's my Kansas insert there.
And whenever I emptied the recycle bin, I get Richard Nixon saying, "Well, I'm not a crook."
All right. Anybody else doing anything fun or exciting or have questions?
This isn't exciting, but I finally managed to get overdue notices and other notices sent out. And I have a notice specific to my library and then the general notice. And I think I haven't tracked this down too much, or at all, to figure out what is triggering it. But occasionally someone will get a message saying, "Dear name, it's a friendly reminder that this book is due. Title, nothing except quotation marks, barcode, blank, everything else blank." And I have the standard, the item due reminder, and then I have the one specific to this library. Could that be what's triggering two, one of which is blank? Okay. I need to do more research.
I can't see how that would trigger two. But depending on how it's on what the template looks like, I could totally see a bad template triggering blanks. So
Yeah, I copied my library's template to the generic one. And it's too soon to tell what's going on. I think my dog needs to check out another book and keep it.
Fred, you should never start a conversation saying this isn't an exciting topic.
Yeah, but half of you were asleep. Usually happens when I talk.
You're supposed to make it out as riveting as it's going to be a riveting conversation, you know, regardless.
Okay, next time I'll bring a power tool with a bit on the end saying, "This is a drill. This is only a drill."
For those of you doing presentations, sell what you're about to say. So anyone else?
my presentation will be the best one at the conference, even though I don't know what it's about yet.
My two will be in the top 50.
All right. Anybody have any bugs that they're working on?
I just had a quick thought about what Fred mentioned. We had we have a bunch of different libraries, and sometimes if we've got a library that has its own specific notices versus a general notice, if someone checks out a book from another branch at that library, sometimes that can get things confused when there's the two notices and a specific branch versus a general notice. And then if the book is being shared between branches, I don't know if that would cause two. I haven't seen that before, but may look into that.
I know there are some issues in Koha where which branch the notice is sent from is not entirely clear what action is going to trigger a notice from a particular branch. It's like renewals. It seems like renewals are one of the cases where it's not 100% clear. If you check a book out of one library and renew it at a different one, it's unclear. Koha's murky on which notice is going to get sent for the renewal. And it would be nice if there was some good documentation on what's going to happen there. So that might be part of the issue too, Fred, if you've got, but you've only got one branch, so that doesn't really, I don't know there.
We had exciting news. I'm not sure if this is an appropriate place, but you all heard about, I'm sure, at every meeting CLAMS has attended, we mentioned that we were having latency, terrible slowness in Koha circulation since we upgraded to 2211. And Nick from Bywater, our support company, discovered, and I can't pronounce this, the pseudo thing. Pseudonymization.
Pseudonymization.
Oh God, you say it so quickly, but pseudo, whatever. Having that turned on for everything, all transactions, but for almost everything in the patron record, all the attributes, which I also find hard to pronounce. That was the reason. So the last I heard, he was going to put it in the Bugzilla. But anyway, turning that off completely, which we really don't want it turned off completely. Turning that off completely, all our libraries are happy now, but it took 2.5 months. So I have to kind of convey that politely after the euphoria of that it's actually, they found what it was. We found getting the bug or getting the issue taken seriously at support and then moving it from there to one of their senior developers, it took 2.5 months in our really busy season. So any tips on how to kind of escalate that would be appreciated. I mean, Michelle knows more about this, but we really felt we weren't, it was very, once it got to development, it was okay. I guess Nick took vacation time, and when he came back, he must have been thinking about it during his vacation. At least I like to think that. But, you know, getting it moved from the old regular support to the developers took a bit longer than I had hoped, but at least it's resolved now. So anyway, that's our story.
Well, it's good news. I'm
Yes.
sorry that feature's causing you problems. Like I've mentioned in the past, we turned ours on, but I don't know if it's a matter of how much is built up in there that's causing the slowdown, or how much you have checked off for that particular feature that it's recording. It's causing that. I haven't seen an issue, but I will keep that in mind if we start to see some performance issues on our end. But I'm glad that guys are figuring it out. Some good sleuthing by Bywater to figure
Yes.
that out. It's frustrating when a new feature is not working the way it's hoped to. And by the way, don't praise me for my pronunciation, because I completely slaughter it every single time. I add an extra syllable in there. It's
Oh, I thought that, but I didn't want to say anything. But I'm like, pseudonymization. That's how I say it.
Pseudonymization, yes.
Pseudonymization, but it sounds nasty. But anyway.
I wish they could have just come up with a more simple term. Why does it have to be so complex? No, George and I have an entire video on it, and I guarantee
I watched it.
We maybe pronounce it right maybe once through the whole video. I don't know.
And the spelling, I mean, it's cut and paste copy and paste every time for me.
Yeah,
Invent a new term like, semi-masking.
Well, that's easier to spell and pronounce.
all right. Anyone else? So Eileen's discovered a fantastic bug in 2211.
Well, I mean, it was really Nick, but I just wish it hadn't taken 2.5 months to really. I know it's hard. We went through with Bob and Jason helped too, but we went through all of our settings, which I really wanted Bywater to do. I wanted them to do a Zoom session with us to go through all of our settings, our system preferences or whatever they're called. To really, so we've suggested that to our liaison at Bywater, that to make it faster if possible, and also, to get from support to the developers, but also the opportunity to sit down with Bywater. It's not the only thing we need to sit down with them and do a Zoom session on, but that would have helped to go through the system preferences. And also the loan rules. We really need a session with them to go through loan rules. Michelle does a lot of work on those, but we've never had an opportunity with them to actually go through our loan rules properly. Right now, we're campaigning to get more acquisitions help. We have 2 libraries using full acquisitions, and it's a nightmare. Their education team has had some changes, I guess, but we used to say when we were on Innovative that it was, when it went to development, it went into a black hole, which thank goodness is not the case with Bywater. You actually get the opportunity to speak with developers, which is great. But we now feel the black hole with Bywater and Koha is the education team, probably because they're bringing on new customers. But anyway, hopefully that will improve.
Yeah, and I think I've talked about this before, Eileen, but the expansion's been fast. So some of the changes in the team aren't because people are leaving necessarily, but they're growing it. I think they just had a new person start this week, which is good. It just is going to take some time for them to get up to speed. And I think there's a lot of flux going on right now. They have a new COO as well. And hopefully they'll be able to streamline that support process. And not just for you. I mean, we sometimes get things where it gets stuck in a support place and we just gotta try to dislodge it and get it to the person that can help. So and there's not always one single way that I found works to do that. It kind of depends on a lot of factors, but yeah, I'm hopeful that this time next year there'll be a lot more experienced people and they'll have a lot more of a vetted process for this.
Well, one place, maybe if everyone else could campaign, if you use Bywater, I realize not everyone uses Bywater, but one place there's a deep lack of support is cataloging, serials, and acquisitions. The really nice part of any system. They're more responsive with circulation, which I realize is kind of more immediate because it's frontline, but those technical services areas, they have, are where we find them the weakest. They have hired someone, but she's part-time to support in those areas on the education team, but I've suggested strongly to Jessica and Nate that they need someone who, it's not enough to say, well, we're not catalogers. They need someone who knows about those areas.
I would like to invite you to the koha-US cataloging SIG, which is an entertaining and fractious group all about cataloging. It also sounds like something that the koha-US Education Committee could.
Well, I'm curious. Our consortium, we don't even use the serials module. And I think part of that is the direction that serials has taken over the past 10 years. They seem to be dying out. Any serials that we're taking on, well, actually, I mean, we do have serials, but we don't hold on to tons of them. We hold on to, I think, a couple years worth, but it seems like it's more work to maintain it through the serials module than to just add things
Well,
to the record. And so I see that there is kind of a black hole. I don't know if it's necessarily with Bywater itself, but I'm wondering if just the community, the libraries, they don't necessarily take advantage of that because it's too easy to just add materials in general.
well, in theory, it should be really easy to add serial issues without using the cataloging or the serials module, to do it in cataloging, just to add an item. And we were encouraged when we went to Koha to do that. However, it's so slow to add an issue to a serial that negates any benefit to that. It's like painfully slow. And we did some, we were proactive. Michelle was very proactive in this with help from Bywater in creating. We always had like one big serial bib and attached, we have 38 locations, so everyone attached to that one serial. So we actually created one bib for the year for weeklies and maybe monthlies, I can't remember. So if it's advocated that that's an easier workaround, which I think it is, to add the actual items in cataloging instead of using the serials module, then they need to fix that. Somebody needs to fix that slow response time when adding the issues. And I think there was supposed to be an upgrade sometime this summer that addressed the slowness when there's more than 100 items attached.
Well, and that's probably one of the things that comes along with open source, is that if something's not being used by a lot of libraries, then it does tend to get neglected a bit more than things that are used more often. And I wonder if that could be what's going on as far as serials. Maybe it hasn't been worked on
Well, no, this is in cataloging though. When you're adding an item to a bib record that has lots of items, and the very nature of serials, periodical serials, is that there will be a lot of items, especially on a weekly, even if it's only for the 1 year. But actually, the serials module is quite decent in Koha, so it's kind of a shame more people are not using it. When you're opening a serial record, when there's a lot of items attached, and in a consortium there will be a lot of items attached, it's slower. Michelle tells me it's slower to actually open the record in circulation or anywhere. But yeah, I was all keen to bypass serials. I was telling all of the libraries, you won't need to bother with patterns anymore or any of that stuff. And then a lot of them, because it was so slow to add item records, like as if they were in, like adding a book, they actually reverted back to using the serials module because they're like, this is ridiculous. We're getting the blue screen of death here every time we try to add a new issue. So anyway, I don't know whether anyone else is finding that really slow with a lot of locations and item records. But I hope they do something. I mean, more than 100 records for a consortium. Slowness associated with more than 100 items attached to a bib, that's unreasonable for a consortium.
Our libraries, we don't have a lot of records that have that many items on it. We do kind of subdivide the records in branches, I think, for the most part, for the physical stuff that's there. So I don't think we run into that a lot, but we do have an archive of newspapers. We actually had to break it up into 2 different bibs because there were so many items. that the record could not handle all of them on one, but it's been years since I've had to touch that. We don't actively add to that any longer. It's just an
Oh.
archive now, but I can see why it would take a long time if you've got so much loading, and maybe they need to figure out they've made improvements over the years to different things like circulation and different aspects of Koha where or in holds where a lot of connected items, a lot of connected things was slowing down the overall loading of the page, and they've done some work on that, and hopefully, you know, maybe down the road they could apply that same kind of concept or linkage to the record so that the records are loading faster and not, you know, relying on everything in that record, everything that's attached to that record to be loaded before you can do anything. So all right, well, we do have to close up shop here. It is 9:34 my time, so 34 past the hour. We do need to shut down because we do have a meeting for the conference coming up next. So I did want to throw this well, never mind. I was going to throw a bug out there. I have a bug that I will mention real quick, and then we are going to end. But there's a bug 33462 is a bug that has to do with expirations for first time signups in Koha. I would encourage you to take a look. It is trying to get signed off so people can test it in a sandbox. And if you're looking for something to sign off, that's a good one to try and work on. But I'm looking forward to that feature. We want to be able to encourage our patrons to move beyond their default password that's handed to them when a staff member creates a patron account. So take a look at that. With that said, we have to say goodbye. So we'll see everybody hopefully next month at the conference. All right. Take care, everyone. And if you are here for the conference committee meeting, stick around.